oppose against them. So when I fight this guy, it's all he was a nobody. When I fight this guy, all he was washed. When I fight this guy, it's an excuse, So who you want me to fight? I beat this guy. It's an excuse. I beat this guy. He's too young or whatever.
Terence Crawford has shocked the entire boxing world by announcing his retirement in the most emotional way possible, and what he said in his farewell video has left fans completely heartbroken. The undefeated champion didn't just walk away quietly. He released a powerful 6-minute YouTube video where his voice cracked multiple times as he opened up about why he's leaving the sport at 38 years old, right after achieving what many consider the greatest victory in modern boxing history. Crawford fought back visible emotion as he told the world he had nothing left to prove, and the decision to walk away on his own terms was more important than chasing another big payday or adding another belt to his collection.
So I'm never really going to give my full respect until afterwards. Yes, it's a lot of people that's changing their narrative. Like, man, y'all watching something great right now, and we not appreciating it. And it's sad to say that we waking up at the tail end of his career.
On Tuesday evening, Crawford posted to social media with a simple but powerful caption, "Walking away as a great with nothing else left to prove. #CrawfordEra." The announcement has already gained millions of views across all platforms, with fans flooding the comments with both heartbreak and respect that one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters in boxing history is actually hanging up the gloves while still on top. However, what led to this sudden decision has sparked intense debate across the boxing community, and Crawford's full statement revealed layers of reasoning that most fans never expected. But before we dive into the emotional details, Jake Paul made some shocking comments that have added even more controversy to this retirement story.
Definitely going to put a dent in his career a bit.
Terence Crawford announced his retirement from boxing today. What do you make of that, Jake Paul?
I think it's cap. I don't think he's actually retiring, but it's a smart move by him.
According to sources close to the situation, Jake Paul allegedly dismissed Crawford's retirement as nothing more than a negotiation tactic during his Miami Open workout session. Paul reportedly told media members, "He's not retired, bro. You guys have seen this millions of times in boxing. He's not retired, but he's got everyone talking about him because of that. So smart play by Terence." This response is particularly shocking because just weeks ago, there were rumors that Crawford's team had been approached about a potential fight with Jake Paul that could have been worth tens of millions of dollars. Many believe Jake Paul is actually disappointed that Crawford retired before they could negotiate what would have been one of the biggest crossover fights in boxing history, and his dismissive comments might just be sour grapes from missing out on the opportunity.
Pull him out of retirement and you're going to face Terence Bud Crawford?
I'll fight Crawford 100% next year. He already was down this year, but we're going to make it happen next year.
Final message for all the Jake Paul fans out there worldwide.
I love you guys. Thank you so much for all the support always since.
The boxing community has been divided ever since Crawford's dominant victory over Canelo Alvarez back in September, with many believing the rematch would have been the biggest payday in both of their careers. But Crawford clearly had different priorities. Surprisingly, Crawford had been dropping subtle hints about retirement for months, but nobody took him seriously because fighters always talk about walking away. In his emotional retirement video posted to YouTube, Crawford opened up about the mental and physical toll of staying undefeated for 17 years.
Walking away like this is rare. Terence Crawford just retired 42-0, and honestly, that's how you do it. No chasing checks, no hanging around too long, no letting the game humble you on the way out. He leaves as the only boxer in the 4-belt era to become undisputed in 3 weight classes, something we may not see for a very long time. And he put the final stamp on it by beating.
Every fighter knows this moment will come. You just never know when. I spent my whole life chasing something. Not belts, not money, not headlines, but that feeling. The one you get when the world doubts you, but you keep showing up and you keep proving everyone wrong. He continued with even more powerful words. This sport gave me everything. I fought for my family. I fought for my city. I fought for the kid I used to be, the one who had nothing but a dream and a pair of gloves. And I did it all my way. Those words hit differently now, knowing that Crawford is actually following through with walking away at the absolute peak of his powers, something very few fighters in history have managed to do. Many boxing analysts believe Crawford's decision was heavily influenced by what happened just 2 weeks before his retirement announcement. The WBC stripped him of his super middleweight title for allegedly refusing to pay $300,000 in sanctioning fees.
beating Canelo just a few months ago. What I respect most is that Crawford knew to stop, and a lot of greats don't. They convince themselves that there's one more fight left, and usually that's when the story changes. Crawford even said it himself, "I'm done fighting because I want a different kind of battle, the one where you walk away on your own terms." That line says everything. Undefeated,
Sources suggest this controversial situation left a bad taste in Crawford's mouth about the politics and business side of boxing, and it may have been the final straw that convinced him it was time to leave the sport while he still had his health and legacy intact. The most powerful part of Crawford's retirement announcement came when he opened up about what walking away on his own terms really means to him. Crawford's voice allegedly became emotional as he explained, "I'm stepping away from competition, not because I'm done fighting, but because I've won a different type of battle. The one where you walk away on your own terms. This isn't goodbye. It's just the end of one fight and the beginning of another."
Personally, I wouldn't be mad if I never see Terence fight again. The way he performed, getting ready to be 38, I think, in a few days. Man, what better way to go out? What better way to tell the game goodbye? What better way?
According to those who followed Crawford's career closely, this decision represents something much deeper than just retirement. It's about preserving his mental and physical health while his legacy is still perfect. Crawford retires with an absolutely flawless 42-0 record, with 31 of those victories coming by knockout, and he was never knocked down even once throughout his entire professional career. Even more impressively, not a single judge ever scored a round in favor of one of his opponents during his entire career, which is an almost unbelievable statistic that shows just how dominant he was inside the ring. Fans have been flooding social media with both support and disbelief about the retirement announcement, with emotions running high across the boxing community.
Who you gonna fight? I was arguing with Max on the way to the venue about Boots Ennis. Nah, we don't go fight Canelo and then go back and fight Boots Ennis. I saw a report today. Somebody was talking about him going up to light heavyweight. Nah, we don't go up to light heavyweight. We just went up 3 weight classes since the Spence fight in 2 weight classes.
One fan tweeted, "Undefeated, undisputed, and dipped before anyone could touch him. That's how legends exit." Another wrote with clear emotion, "Have your well-deserved rest, champ. You've earned it more than anyone in this sport." However, not everyone is convinced this retirement is real, with some fans and analysts questioning whether Crawford might be using this as leverage for bigger fights. One skeptical fan commented, "That check from the Canelo fight must have just hit his account. He'll be back when they offer him $100 million for the rematch." Another added their doubts by writing, "He don't want to give Canelo that rematch. He's scared Canelo will come back with 2 working arms this time." This skepticism isn't unfounded. Boxing has a long history of fighters retiring and then coming back when the right opportunity or paycheck presents itself, and many believe Crawford might do the same if the offers get big enough.
Specifics, if you watch my channel, you know what I'm talking about. Last week I said that, there was going to be some big news come down the pipe. When you hear it, you guys will know. Terence Bud Crawford has officially announced his retirement via his social media platforms. So, and it's a great thing. He left on top.
The timing of Crawford's retirement has raised serious questions throughout the boxing world, especially since there were multiple mega fights still on the table that would have shattered pay-per-view records. Canelo Alvarez's trainer Eddie Reynoso had publicly stated just last week that they wanted a rematch in September 2026, which would have been one of the biggest rematches in boxing history. Additionally, there were ongoing negotiations for Crawford to potentially move up to middleweight for even more legacy-defining fights, and rumors of Crawford headlining a massive Riyadh season event in early 2026.
That's close to him pretty much knew that Canelo was going to be the last fight. He was pretty much done. There's nothing else more to accomplish. You proved all of your haters wrong. Everyone who hated on you all the way to 42-0. And you proved everybody, who believed in you, you proved them right. And you was able.
Boxing promoter Turki Alalshik, who helped make the Canelo fight happen by offering both fighters massive purses, reportedly can't be too happy seeing Crawford retire before cashing in on the rematch and other big fights. Sources close to the situation suggest Turki invested heavily in building Crawford into a mainstream star through his Riyadh season cards in 2024 and 2025, and Crawford walking away just as he's become a household name seems like strange timing. Bernie Davis, Crawford's coach, had allegedly mentioned in a recent interview with Mill City Boxing that Crawford's asking price for any comeback would be exactly $100 million, not $75 million, not $90 million, but a flat $100 million. He reportedly said, 100 million, neither 75 nor 90, 100. If it's not that, then what's the point?
This, Terence Crawford walking away as a great with nothing else left to prove. He's actually attached a YouTube video. In this video, he is receiving the key to the city. He's on the stage. He's thanking everybody that brought him to where he was in boxing. Bo McIntyre, Shakur Stevenson, everyone around him in his team. I'm number one pound for pound. I'm 3 times undisputed. I'm 5 division champion. I've got loads.
This has led many boxing insiders to believe Crawford's retirement might actually be a strategic negotiation tactic to drive up his value and force promoters to meet his asking price if they want him back in the ring. However, those closest to Crawford insist this time is different, and they point to the fact that he's walking away with his perfect record, his health, and his legacy intact, something very few fighters in history have managed to accomplish. Crawford's retirement also reopens old wounds about fights that never happened and rivalries that will forever remain unfinished. The most obvious elephant in the room is Errol Spence Jr., who Crawford absolutely demolished in their July 2023 fight, winning by TKO in the 9th round when the referee stopped the fight.
I hear you. And the final question, Terence Crawford just announced his retirement. What are your thoughts on this? Is this for real? What do you think? The GOAT is retired?
Listen, man, I don't think Terence is playing. Listen, he's a serious man. He's given the game so much. Congratulations to you, Terence Crawford, bro. Whatever you want to do.
Spence had exercised his contractual right to a rematch after that devastating loss, but the rematch never materialized despite months of negotiations and back and forth on social media. While Spence hasn't directly commented on Crawford's retirement announcement yet, sources suggest he might actually feel relieved that the rematch pressure is finally off his shoulders. Spence hasn't fought since that crushing defeat to Crawford and has been dealing with eye injury issues that required surgery, which many believe significantly impacted his performance in their first fight. There's also the unfinished business with fighters like David Benavidez, who many analysts believe would have given Crawford serious problems if they ever faced each other in the ring. Crawford's critics have been quick to point out that he's retiring right when younger, hungrier fighters were starting to emerge as legitimate threats to his throne. One analyst commented on social media, "Crawford is smart. He saw Benavidez, Morrell, and the new generation coming, and he got out before they could expose him." That's not legendary. That's calculated.
Support it. I think you deserve it. You blessed us with many great fights, bro. At the end of the day, your accolades will never be replicated, brother. And you finally got your just due. So respect to you, man, and enjoy life outside of the ring.
But if you had to make a bet, does he come back?
I don't think so.
No.
Another critic wrote, "Retiring after beating a one-armed 35-year-old Canelo doesn't make you the GOAT. Real legends stick around and fight everyone. Crawford cherry-picked his way to 42-0. However, Crawford's supporters have been quick to defend his legacy, pointing out that he unified divisions, moved up multiple weight classes, and beat every opponent put in front of him throughout his 17-year professional career. Perhaps the most interesting subplot to Crawford's retirement is what it means for the future of the super middleweight division. With Crawford now officially retired, all 4 major titles at 168 pounds are now vacant, which means the division is wide open for a new king to emerge. Many boxing fans actually see this as a positive development, since Canelo Alvarez had been holding all 4 belts and carefully selecting opponents for years, freezing out legitimate contenders like David Benavidez and David Morrell. Crawford being allowed to skip the line and jump up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo was controversial at the time, and some analysts believe it showed how broken the division had become under Canelo's reign. Now that the titles are fractured and available, younger fighters will finally get the opportunities they've been waiting years for, and fans should see much more competitive matchups at super middleweight. The boxing world is also left wondering what comes next for Canelo Alvarez, who suffered the most devastating loss of his career at the hands of Crawford back in September. Many believe Canelo was compromised in that fight due to an injured left elbow that required surgery just 1 month after the loss, which is why 2 of the scorecards were as close as 115 to 113. Sources suggest Canelo wants the rematch badly to prove he can beat Crawford with 2 healthy arms, but now that opportunity might be gone forever unless Crawford changes his mind. Crawford's emotional retirement video included powerful moments where he thanked everyone who was part of his journey, even his haters.
I just got a couple more questions, but you voiced you don't know how many fights that you actually got left. How does Terence Crawford know when it's time to hang it up?
When I want to. You know, I'm going to retire from boxing before I let boxing retire me. You know, I always said that.
I want to thank my haters, my critics, and every opponent who pushed me to places I didn't know I could go. You made me better. You made me sharper. You made me legendary. This level of maturity and perspective is rare in boxing, where most fighters retire with bitterness or regret about fights they never got or money they never made. Crawford also made sure to thank his team, his promoters, his city of Omaha, Nebraska, and most importantly, his family for sacrificing so much during his 17-year professional career. According to sources close to Crawford, family considerations played a massive role in his decision to retire, as he reportedly wants to be more present for his children as they grow up. One source allegedly stated, "Bud has given everything to this sport since he was 7 years old. He's missed birthdays, holidays, and precious time with his kids. Now he wants to make up for that lost time while he's still young enough to be an active father."
Bomac, you've been training Crawford for years. Is he retired or is he going to keep fighting?
He just got to take a break.
Is Terence Crawford retired or is he going to keep fighting?
Oh, he's going to keep fighting.
He's going to keep fighting?
Yeah.
You're the man. Be man. Hey, congratulations. Enjoy the win.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to retire on my own terms, and I'm going to feel good because everything that I did it my way.
This reasoning resonates with many fans who appreciate seeing a fighter prioritize family over fame and fortune, especially in a sport where so many legends stick around too long and suffer devastating losses late in their careers. The reaction from the broader boxing community has been overwhelmingly respectful, even from those who question whether this retirement is permanent. Max Kellerman, the renowned boxing analyst, reportedly stated, "There are some guys who lived through their eras who will say, 'You ain't beating that guy.' And Terence Crawford is one of those guys. The people who watched him in this era will swear up and down that no one could have ever beaten him, and they have a good case." This perspective captures what made Crawford so special: his technical perfection, his switch-hitting ability, his power from both stances, and his boxing IQ that seemed to be several steps ahead of every opponent. However, some analysts like Eddie Pronashev have been more measured in their praise, pointing out that Crawford's victory over Israel Madrimov in 2024 was much closer than the scorecard suggested.
It's been a journey. I remember, like it was yesterday, I went to quit boxing. And I'm like, man, boxing. And to the point where I didn't enjoy it no more. I didn't love it no more. And Bomac, he always, hey, don't worry about it, man. Just keep going. It's going to all pay off one day.
Many observers actually felt Madrimov won that fight, which raises questions about whether Crawford was already in decline before the Canelo victory rejuvenated his career one last time. Regardless of these debates, there's no denying that Crawford's resume speaks for itself. 5-division world champion, 3-time undisputed champion, 4-time lineal champion, and a perfect 42-0 record. Only legends like Manny Pacquiao and Oscar De La Hoya won world titles in more weight classes than Crawford, which puts him in truly elite company in boxing history. As the boxing world processes this shocking announcement, the biggest question remains: is this retirement actually permanent, or will Crawford return if the price is right? History tells us that boxing retirements should always be taken with a grain of salt, as countless legends have come back for one more fight when the money or opportunity was too good to pass up. Floyd Mayweather retired multiple times before coming back, and even fighters like Sugar Ray Leonard and George Foreman made unexpected comebacks years after hanging up their gloves. However, there's something different about Crawford's announcement: the maturity in his voice, the peace in his decision, and the emphasis on walking away on his own terms all suggest this might actually be the real deal.
Bernard, Dr. Conroy, Steven, Paulina, Shakur, Mac. I want to thank Red, Saul, Chad, Denise. I want to thank Julie. I want to thank Jessica, Ish. Most importantly, my brother. I want to thank
Crawford's coach Bernie Davis setting that $100 million price tag might be the ultimate test of whether this retirement is permanent or just negotiation strategy. If promoters actually come forward with that kind of money for a Canelo rematch or a Jake Paul crossover fight, we'll find out whether Crawford's convictions are stronger than his bank account.
I know the haters are mad. I know Floyd had said somewhere like, God damn, he had to lose. I needed him to lose. Go try to be undisputed one more time. Yeah. The haters mad. Oh, he's ducking the Canelo rematch.
For now, the boxing world must accept that one of the greatest fighters of this generation has decided to walk away at just 38 years old, with his perfect record intact and his legacy secure. Whether that legacy would have been even greater if he stuck around to fight Benavidez, give Canelo a rematch, or defend against younger challengers is something boxing fans will debate for decades to come. Hopefully, Crawford can enjoy retirement with his family and watch his children grow up without the constant grind of training camps, weight cuts, and the physical toll that comes with being an elite boxer. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay by subscribing to our YouTube channel and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.